You know that moment when a random idea pops into your head and suddenly you're already doing it? Today I had the strong desire to spontaneously start an art piece and it completely changed my day. Hold on for the art process. By the way, I'm Kat Wild and I make creative stuff on YouTube. There is a special feeling when we act spontaneously. It happens when an idea suddenly appears in our mind and we decide to follow it without overthinking. In such moments, we often feel a sense of freedom because we are not constrained by plans or expectations. Furthermore, spontaneous actions break the rules of everyday life and can lead to silly or fun adventures. They interrupt the daily routine. I believe spontaneous action often feel more meaningful because they allow us to live fully in the present moment. Instead of overthinking, we simply decide and act. This can create a strong sense of freedom. When was the last time you did something spontaneously? To be honest, I don't have a fixed way of starting a painting. It usually depends on the atmosphere I want to create. Sometimes I like to ground the surface with a single color so that the whole painting has a consistent color theme that indirectly creates a certain mood. Furthermore, the color can also create more depth. I believe that the first layer strongly influences the emotional impact of a painting because it subtly shines through the layer above it. The effect is quite small and not always visible to the human eye, but in the end it makes a significant difference to the depth of a painting. So perhaps layering is a universal tool, but its function changes depending on the artistic goal. Then I had to stop what I was doing because I had to wait for the background to dry, so the project turned out to be only partly spontaneous. Let's go on. Can you guess what I'm planning next? Exactly. I will use the bubble technique again. This time I'm measuring how much dish soap I'm using and then I'm adding water. I plan to make a mixture of 1/3 dish soap and 2/3 water, but I accidentally used a bit too much dish soap, so I ended up washing a few dishes with it. In the end, the mixture was closer to 1/4 dish soap and 3/4 waters. Now I grab my black water mixable oil colors and mix them into the mixture. I'm curious how that works. I guess the oil colors have a big impact on the mixture. At the time, the bubbles pop very fast. It's very hard to get big bubbles out of it. The smell is a mix between oil colors and dish soap. I smell both at the same time. It's clean and artsy at the same time. Confusing. I wouldn't expect that. But this time, it's really hard to grab the bubbles and placing them on the canvas. Hold on, I'm trying my best. It's an artistic fight. In my imagination, the structures looked very cool, but I think I forgot a detail. I mean, I still have to wait until it's dried, but actually I'm sure I do not get the result I hoped for. During the process, I realized that the mixable oil watercolors mixture maybe is not that working as I had it in my mind. First of all, the surface of the background is sleek. Oil colors does not absorb water. In addition to that, this kind of color dries very slowly. It's hard for the bubbles to dry. I think they have to dry fast to get the print of the bubbles. So I think it would be better if the colors could dry fast, then I would get better bubble prints, you know? So the likelihood of creating big bubble prints is small. My plan B is to use a next layer with black ink. Maybe this works better, but first I will wait until it dried and then I decide. Well, during drying I realized that I have not enough oil colors to finish the art piece. I just wanted to quickly buy them in my usual art store. I visited them and I was shocked. The water mixable colors disappeared. I was searching in every corner of the shop, under the shelves, behind other brands, but I found nothing. So I asked the seller. The result? They don't sell my favorite water mixable oil color brand anymore. They only had a few colors that were reduced or another brand with double pricing. I was really shocked. There was no possibility anymore to buy these colors spontaneously. I was really lucky because I found the colors for sale in the internet. I know in Germany they moan about shops that are closing in the city centers, but if you do not offer what people need and you only want to sell the most expensive objects, then there's no big surprise that people are buying things in the internet. Furthermore, the colors had more time to dry on the canvas, and this is the package they sent me. Hold on, I need a scissor. I have to hide the paper because here's my clear name written down and my address. You shouldn't see that. Let's see. That looks nice. I like how they packed it. Every size and set has its own package that feels very luxurious. Let's have a look inside the package. Very nice. I'm having a look to the wad inside the package. It's a different one than the wads I ordered without the set. That's good. That's really good, so I have more variation. But I plan not to use the set for now. I think it's for other projects. Also a very nice package. Have a look inside. If everything is all white, this should be a big white one. Yes, all white. I ordered the big white because I usually use a lot of white. I know a lot of artists say that you shouldn't only lightning with white, but there are some colors I only create with white, so it's my art style to use a lot of white, I guess. Now I have a look on the small package with 3 colors. I didn't find the opening that nice, I know, but I was not patient enough to make 20 different shots of, oh, I opened a package. Dark cadmium red, black, and orange? No, this is called light cadmium, but it's very close to my orange color. Interesting. I thought it's more red. Okay, well, we will see. But now it's time to work on art piece. It's a scary moment. I like the background. I even like that I didn't have the perfect bubbles, but I like the pattern of the background, so I don't change anything there. But I don't want to destroy the art piece. But on the other hand, I have to go on, so this art piece will never be finished. So I'm mixing my colors and start with the first stroke. I sketch the silhouette of the harp. And then I fill every part of the heart with a different shade of red. I let the main part of the heart dry for a few days. Well, this project started spontaneously, but because of the medium it was better to wait. I nearly forgot to draw the veins. But you know what I realized? You can't see that on camera, but when I placed the canvas to a different place, I noticed that the inner part of the black circles are shiny. They shine through the layers of the heart. Now I'm drawing some darker shadows and details to emphasize the contrast between different parts of the heart. I'm not sure whether it was a good idea to combine all mixable watercolors with dish soap. From a chemical perspective, I assume the dish soap contains surfactants that are designed to break down and remove fat. Since oil mixable paints, as the name suggests, still contain some oil and fat, I'm unsure how this interaction will affect the artwork in the long term. I guess I will see it one day. I've noticed that the center of the bubbles dries more slowly than the surrounded areas. This art piece has accidentally turned into an experiment. I give it a night to dry a little bit. And now it's time for the special glue for the fake gold flakes. Again, I had to wait about 20 minutes and I was not really patient and started a little bit earlier. But why I glue gold flakes about this heart? Have you ever wondered how kind, open-hearted people sometimes become bitter over time? At first glance it seems ambivalent. How can someone who was once warm and trusting turn into someone distant and skeptical? One possible answer is simple: repeated negative experience. The main idea of this art piece is a gold heart that is splitted. On the symbolic side, there were at the beginning humans with very kind and lovely hearts. You can call them gold heart, but bad experience cracked the inner shininess. When a person repeatedly faces disappointment, betrayal, or injustice, the perspective of the world can begin to shift. Kindness may start to feel like a weakness rather than a strength. Trust becomes riskier, and over time this can lead to bitterness. However, I believe there's also something like silent bitterness. In this case, a person does not express their bitterness outwardly. They may still appear kind and polite, but internally they struggle with distrust and may withdraw from social interactions. It seems like a balanced solution, but nobody sees the inside struggles. Well, I placed all fake gold flakes on the art piece. Even this spontaneously started project took me much longer than I planned, but I like the result. See you!